Hey, hi there, guys. Warren here. So today, or tonight for me, I'm not sure what it is for you when you get this, but this evening, I want to talk to us about not canceling or deleting ourselves. Because how often have you been writing a paper or preparing a presentation or a lecture, and you just have that problematic sentence, that unfinished sentence, or that imperfect thought? And often, instead of correcting it, which we can do, the first thing we do, because of our human condition, the first thing we at least think is delete it or cancel that. And like I said, it's our human condition, and we catastrophize over these things. We beat ourselves up because I can't put that unfinished sentence in this paper, or I can't be judged because I had an imperfect thought that my colleagues and everyone at the cooler is going to judge me about. And so we delete it and we cancel. And what got me thinking about it was, interestingly enough, the other day I made a video, and it was about insufficient complementarity. And I felt I struggled with it, defining terms, the flow. I lost my train of thought a few times. Not that that's a bad thing, because I kind of like that mind loop train of thought, not in excess, but instead of jump cuts. I'm not a fan of jump cuts. I've made videos where I've used jump cuts, but I prefer the flow. But I wasn't happy with it, and I thought, I'm going to delete it. And then, I don't know what made me think otherwise, but I thought, I'm just going to let myself exist. And I know that sounds philosophical and maybe even cliche, but I thought, I'm going to let myself exist. And you know what else? The cynic might, sniffle at that and chuckle under their breath, but to me, that's self-respect. Self-respect enough to believe in yourself and believe in your own product, again, no matter what it is, enough to not delete yourself and let yourself exist. Because, like I said, too often it's the opposite. We just beat ourselves up and catastrophize in our heads. And then here's the absurd truth. If you delete every version of yourself, pretty soon all you're going to be left with is performance, right? Just the pieces you want people to see and think are the best parts of you. And I did another episode about being where Churchill was describing the USSR back in 1939, and he said they were a riddle wrapped in a mystery inside an enigma, and so are we, and so are we. But we want people to see the perfect piece that doesn't exist at all. There's no perfect piece of us, because we are the riddle wrapped inside a mystery, inside an enigma. And I mean, so I thought, I'm going to choose presence instead. And again, the cynic might question that or argue that that is weakness, but I think it's maturity, not weakness. Because the easy button is to delete ourselves, right? Or to cancel. And here's the thing, if you're a creator at all, of any genre, music, art, well, that would be covered under music, or music would be covered under art. But if you're a creator of any genre, YouTube, art, or yours truly likes among other things, like to collect sea glass and then doodle it, doing some art with it. But I mean, whatever it is, whenever we feel friction, whenever we feel the stumble, that imperfect sentence, that incomplete thought, that losing your train of thought and drifted too long, that anything, the thought that didn't land smoothly, the first thing we think is delete. Not even necessarily edit. Delete. And not because it's bad. Here's the thing. Not because it's bad, but because it's vulnerable. Indeed. And it's the human condition. It's the human condition. But I say don't delete yourself. Because not deleting yourself is growth. Again, sounds philosophical and cliche, but it's true. Because if you keep doing that, what is there for you to use to grow? What is in your toolkit? If every version of yourself you delete, what is in your toolkit? So I say keep the awkward flow. Keep the mind loop. That's discipline. That's quiet discipline. And again, it's your own personal struggle. Unless you're sharing that with someone, it's your own personal struggle, right? That confidence in action that only you and you can make happen. Because again, often these creators, us, we're doing these things, dare I say, in isolation in some respects. But I think that's confidence in action. And it's a short episode. I didn't want to keep you long, but it was on my mind. And another thing, I think that's optimism. And not just any optimism either. That's optimistic absurdism at its finest, if I do say so myself. But seriously, so often the first thing we want to do is delete ourselves, cancel ourselves. And I'm not even talking about the societal stuff. I'm talking about what we do to ourselves because of our vulnerability. And that's the biggest reason. It's usually because we're vulnerable. We don't want to be judged. We're not wired that way. We're wired to be told things are peaches and cream. Haagen-Dazs vanilla. With a whole bunch of never mind. But yeah, we're wired for the easy button, not ever to be challenged. But wanted to share that with you, not to delete or cancel yourselves, because there's enough of that going around. All right, there's enough of that going around. So as always, be good out there, take care of yourselves, and until our next conversation, we'll talk again soon. I'll see you. But I mean, seriously, how quickly is it that, and it's a short episode, but I just wanted to share that. And I'm still going to do it over because that didn't work at all for me anyway. What the hey?